We live? We streaming? I'll give it a few seconds. I hope we're streaming. And I apologize about the wet ass hair. You know, I just got out of the shower, so my hair is a little wild and inconceivable. My forehead kind of looks like a penis right now, but you know, it's what it is. Anyway, guys, now that we're a few seconds into the stream, I am Johnny Von Duke, if you are unfamiliar with me. I doubt anybody's going to be watching this as I'm making it. I'm more so doing this in stream format simply because I currently do not have the time to make a proper video around this, but I still want to address and cover this because it is important for the precedent that's being set for Dungeons & Dragons, open game licenses in general, and overall it's dicey. It's dicey. OGL 1.1 is very dicey in the regard that there seems to be no limiters to it. And that's a big concern people have. I am going to be reading through Wizards of the Coast official response, but I'm going to be labeling this as Hasbro because Hasbro is the parent company. They have the end-all, be-all, yay, nay, you know, kind of power. So I will be referring to this specifically as Hasbro because I feel like it's important to put pressure on the parent company in this situation, especially considering they are the ones who perpetuate 90% of these decisions. They have to give a yay, nay, because that affects their bottom line too. Anything their subsidiaries do, anything their small children companies do, so to speak, that messes with their bottom line. So they are very watchful over this stuff. And while we don't have confirmation yet, it is still heavily believed, perceived, there's good evidence to point towards it that Hasbro is the ones who, you know, initiated all this. So now that we have kind of the background around OGL 1.1, how it was possibly conceived, because we don't know for sure yet. Hopefully we'll get confirmation on that at some point. Maybe it will be in the response. God, my mustache is all fucked up too. But, you know, hopefully we have answers here. I will go into micro Von Duke mode here. I'm sorry, I will be covering up part of the text, but I do want my... You know, well, here, we'll go a little smaller. We'll go a little smaller just for today. Because you know what? I'm not the main feature of this. You're just listening to a one man's response. So, an update on the open game license, OGL 1.1. I think I'll just read through it as is and get my thoughts later. So, here we go. When we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with three major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful or discriminatory products. Don't give your comment, Johnny. Just wait. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D and Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs by making clear that OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL for the content creator, the homebrewer, the aspiring designer, are players in the community, not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purpose. Okay. Driving these goals were two simple principles. One, our job is to be good stewards of the game. And two, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. God, it's getting hard to hold back my comments, boys. That was why our early drafts of the new OGL included the provisions they did. The draft language was provided to content creators and publishers so their feedback could be considered before anything was finalized. Okay. In addition to language allowing us to address discriminatory and hateful content and clarifying what types of products the OGL covers, our drafts include royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast community. However, it's clear from the reactions that we rolled a 1. I would say so. You rolled a 0. That's not even possible. You rolled a 0. Okay, I'll hold back. It has become clear that it is no longer possible to fully achieve all three goals while staying true to our principles, so here is what we are doing. The next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environment we are trying to build and specify that it covers only content for tabletop RPGs. That means that other expressions such as educational, charitable, campaigns, live streams, cosplay, VTT uses, etc., will remain unaffected by any OGL updates. Content already released under 1.0 will also remain unaffected. I know I said we'll hold off on comments, but I just gotta say that will be yet to be seen. We gotta wait for this to come out before, you know, that's not set in stone. That's not set in stone right there. But you know what? We'll go with that for now. But that's yet to be seen. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. Okay? Okay. It also will not include the licenses back provision that some people were afraid of was a means for us to steal work. That thought never crossed our minds. Probably crossed Hasbro's mind, though. Sorry. Under any new OGL, you will own your content you create. God. This is the most reading I've done in years. We won't. Any language we put down will be crystal clear and unequivocal on that point. Unquivocal. I'm horribly butchering that. The license-backed language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly allege that we steal their work, simply because of coincidental similarities. That's a loaded thing right there. As we continue to invest in the game that we love and move forward with, partnership in film, television, and digital games, that risk is simply too great to ignore. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk, but we will do it without a license back and without suggesting that we have rights to the content you create. Okay? Your ideals and imaginations, what makes this game special, and that belongs to you. A couple of last thoughts. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today because we need to make sure we get it right, but it is coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won and so did we. Our plan was always to solicit the input of the community. Why didn't you just ask the community first? Why didn't you just leave an open statement? How do you feel on this? Okay. Before any update to the OGL, the drafts you've seen were attempting to do just that. We want to always delight fans and create experiences together that everyone loves. We realize we did not do that this time, and we are sorry for that. Okay, listen. I get it's an open statement, but the fact that they're actually saying sorry, I know it means nothing, but it at least shows they're being conscious. That right there shows they're at least being conscious. Okay, that's a good sign. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked and which did not, which we ultimately got from you. Any change this major could only have been done well if we were willing to take that feedback no matter how it was provided, so we are. Thank you for caring enough to let us know that work and what doesn't, what you need, and what scares you. Without knowing that, we can't do our part and make the new OGL match our principles. Finally, we'd appreciate the chance to make this right. We love D&D's devoted player base and the creators who take them on so many incredible adventures. We won't let you down. Okay. I'm going to expand my face a little bit. So now that we've covered through OGL 1.1, well, at least the response to OGL 1.1 by the D&D Beyond staff, I want to show something I unfortunately couldn't get. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. I couldn't get onto this account for my computer, so you're just going to have to take my phone screen's word for it. I have, if my phone screen will focus. Is it going to focus? Focus. Let me turn the fucking brightness down. Focus, you fucking bitch. Here we go. So I have reached out to Hasbro and D&D Beyond for responses. I will get into what I got. I also had reached out to Matthew Mercer for a response to OGL 1.1 because he is currently the biggest guy under their umbrella who's just really a standalone dude, so to speak, Critical Role. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I forget, I want to show you Hasbro's response, and that's actually initially how I became aware of this response article, because I'll give Hasbro credit. It was a generic-ass statement. It really was, but at least I got a response out of Hasbro, and they led me to this article. So it's good to know, at least even though they're giving out catch-all responses to people, that they are being conscious of this, Hasbro themselves, or at least their Twitter staff is. That's a good sign, I will say, overall. I am glad Hasbro is being conscious of this and is being centered focus on this, kinda, sorta, at the very least. I'm a little bit disturbed by the fact that I haven't gotten a response from Matt Mercer or, D&D Beyond themselves, but considering they have posted, D&D Beyond, Wizards of the Coast, considering they've posted this response 4 hours ago, that kind of does show they were reading through everything. So I don't have a doubt in my mind that at the very least my message was read, considering I posted that message to them like 9 hours before they made this, which was 4 hours ago. So that's completely fair. I'll give them credit. They might not have responded to me, but it's obvious I did get a response at the very least, which I'll give them credit for. No comment on Matt Mercer. He's under contract. You can look at my tweets. I have my own personal opinion on this with him, but we won't cover that here. Hey, it's your own call, dude. At the end of the day, you're under contract. Just know there's a nice little yellow stripe there for you. But anyway, what do I think about all this? I feel mixed. I want to say the good first, before we get into my negative connotations, because I don't want this video being straight nothing bad, and then I say one good thing at the end, What I'm going to say is that it's obvious they are conscious of all of this. That much I will say. Now listen. I've only been with D&D for a year and a half now, and I haven't been making content for half of that year. Going on 2 years. I haven't made content for half a year now. But with that being said, I always had a feeling OGL 1.1 would come out, so to speak. I had a feeling that popular work could get snatched up. Now, I will, for now anyway, this is all yet to be seen. I want to see some action before we give definite, yeah, you're in the good. Because keep in mind, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, you're on probation right now. And you're under probation by us, the fan base. Make that clear right now. We'll never be under your probation. But what I'm going to say is that I will take faith in the fact they mean every word of this. Just faith. This is a faith gesture very much. I'll say on faith that I believe every word they're saying. Consciously, right now, I am not sure. Because this is a tricky, fucking loaded thing we are dealing with. And I've sworn on stream twice now in the span of 12 minutes. Oh well. Anyway, it's like, this is just, and here, I'll zoom out again. You had a chance to read through all of it, but it's like, this statement right here, to use D&D and Web3, NFTs, all that stuff, that bugs me a little bit. That scares me. Because listen, you have no right to take stuff from beholders, blah, 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 official D&D properties, and things that have the copyright stamp on it. You have no right to do that. But you're not addressing, if we label our stuff as D&D work because we're homebrewers for that, is it going to get struck down if we try to do any of this? They don't address that whatsoever. They just say we want to restrict the use of it, but they don't say how far it goes and if we can put the D&D label on it or not. Which is D&D, not D&D. I'm sorry. And also, I'm concerned about the fact that they recognize the fact that the early drafts could possibly be dicey, yet they didn't ask for a public response first. They just straight up, it got leaked, got confirmed later, So you didn't post the drafts. The drafts got leaked. Let's make that clear. You didn't post the drafts. They got leaked. Sorry, guys. So yeah, that's one thing. Congratulations. You kind of lied there. Well, no, they don't ever claim they posted it, so I'm joking. I'm not joking. I'm a fucking idiot who misspeaks a lot, let's be real. Furthermore, when we go down to right here, this is loaded, because in the early draft, it said 1.0 could be overruled by 1.1. Mind you, that's the draft, and we don't see what their official thing is. I'll make a follow-up a follow-up covering my thoughts on it. I'm probably not going to read through it, but when they release their official statement, official 1.1, I will read through it and give you my response and stuff. The license back language. And you see, that right there is what worries me. Protect us and our partners. When you are running that's open source, you don't need protecting. You don't need protecting. You got nothing to protect from something that's open source. The good, the bad, the hateful, the loving, the caring, all that. It's open source. You ain't got nothing to protect. The open source nature of it does all the protecting for you. And I believe that thoroughly. And anyone who disagrees with me, that's fine. But that's my thorough belief. You don't have anything to protect. You have no asses to cover. The open source factor of it does the covering for you. So I am really worried with that statement. That shouts greed to me. What do they need to protect? I don't know. To address this risk. But you see, I'm worried about the fact that you're waiting for the OGL to address this. And that's about all I want to pull out directly after reading all that. But it's just like, you have said nothing about what stops you from going back to older versions of D&D and republishing that. You've covered nothing on what stops you from taking a dead man's work. Because the game's been from 74 to now. People have been born and dead from that time. There are people who created content back then who just aren't alive anymore. That's the cold reality. I hate being that guy, but I'm going to be that guy for this. So I hope OGL 1.1, the official document, and the official one gets into that and covers it and addresses that. I really do. Because that is worrying. Because they don't address it here, and they're claiming they're going to address it in the next OGL. Now listen, I don't know much about Wizards of the Coast, but my track record, my recent history, everything I know about them, it's been pretty damn clean so far, for the most part. For the most part, based off what I know of. That's not set in stone, obviously. There are guys who probably know way more about Wizards of the Coast than I do. But from my surface level standpoint, they have a clean record almost. And I'd hate for them to ruin it on this. I'll take this whole thing in faith that it's good. And that they're going to go through everything honestly. And they're going to protect the individual creators. But I'll say again, that's yet to be seen and that's not set in stone. This would usually be the part where I say, take it away, other me, but this is a live stream and not a recording, so yeah. There ain't going to be no younger Von Duke, cleaner face popping in saying degenerate stuff this time, boys. If you guys have enjoyed this short little live stream of me just reading over it, giving my basic thoughts, you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the dislike, hit the unsubscribe, share me, don't share me, just call me an asshole in the comments. It's all good, it's all kosher around here. Anyway, guys, I've been Johnny Von Duke, and I will see you all in the next motherfucking goddamn video, sons of bitches. Whoop, 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 shamalama doop.